good people, how are you? I hope I find you well.
You know how it is. You want to get your head around a big story, something important that feels like everyone's talking about. But the sheer amount of information out there, it's overwhelming.
Totally. Feels like you need a map just to figure out what's actually happening.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're here for.
Our goal is to take these complex situations, these swirling reports and alleged inside scoops, and really boil them down.
To the core of it.
Yeah, extract what you really need to know. Think of it as your shortcut to being genuinely informed without wading through all the noise.
And today, we are digging into a potentially massive situation developing in Zimbabwe.
Right.
We've got this alleged insider account that's buzzing online. Specifically, it's a YouTube video claiming to detail a really crucial recent meeting within the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, the ZDF.
And according to this account, this isn't just, whispers or rumors. It points to what could be a fundamental shift in the military's position, something that might have, profound consequences for the whole political scene there.
Absolutely. So our mission today, break down this alleged meeting, try to understand this claimed change in the military stance, and really explore what this could all mean for Zimbabwe's path forward. Okay, so let's unpack this. The video talks about a meeting reportedly happened recently at Army barracks. What immediately jumps out, though, is who wasn't there, allegedly.
Right. The account claims the current president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, he wasn't involved, wasn't even aware it was taking place. So
Really, which, straight away makes you ask, why? Why exclude him?
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is what they were supposedly discussing at this meeting.
Yeah.
An alleged shift in the military's core priority.
Okay, so forget protecting politicians. Is that the idea?
That seems to be the claim. The video suggests the new focus is on serving the Zimbabwean people, and this is key upholding the Constitution.
Wow, that's a pretty dramatic change in stated goals, if this account is accurate.
It really is. And if it is accurate, it strongly suggests, a growing dissatisfaction, maybe deep within the military ranks, about the president's leadership.
About the way things are going.
Yeah, and historically, when the military starts talking like this in countries like Zimbabwe, it often comes before big political changes.
And this reported unhappiness isn't just talk, apparently. The insider account goes further, describing alleged concrete action.
Yeah, a withdrawal of support.
Really?
Yes. The claim is the ZDF has reportedly started pulling back security protection for the sitting president.
Okay, and the reason given? In the video, I mean.
It's pretty direct. The assertion that the president is no longer acting in the best interests of Zimbabweans.
Wow. Okay. And they're not being vague about it either, are they? The account supposedly mentions specific triggers for this alleged shift.
That's right. Things like discrepancies between the V11 forms.
Right. Those are the polling station result sheets, for anyone not familiar.
Exactly. Discrepancies between those forms and the official results announced after the 2023 elections. That's a very serious allegation.
It absolutely is.
The video also points to alleged favoritism in military promotions, in business opportunities, with the president supposedly favoring his loyalists over guys who've served for a long time.
And if you put that together, it could suggest, lower morale? A feeling of being sidelined?
Exactly, a sense of being overlooked within the military itself.
The video apparently even brings up history, reminds people of why the military stepped in against Mugabe in the first place.
Yeah, the stated reason back then was supposedly to protect citizens and manage a transition led by Mnangagwa himself.
Right.
And now, according to this account, there's this feeling of betrayal, like those original goals haven't panned out.
That makes sense. That feeling of unmet expectations, that things went off track, that can be powerful.
Very powerful. And the insider account claims another thing is stopped. All the public praise for the president in, say, state media.
Oh, interesting. So those news reports crediting him for, national projects.
Reportedly, that's done. Now, these things are framed as national efforts, not just his achievements.
That's subtle, but yeah, potentially quite telling. A shift in the public narrative.
And there's more. According to this account, the military allegedly found significant overpricing in some national projects.
Raises questions about where the money's going, right?
Absolutely. Questions about transparency, public funds, and maybe the involvement of the president's allies. You have to wonder, if this is true, why the military would highlight that.
Okay, so we're potentially looking at this broad disillusionment inside the military, reportedly sparked by alleged election issues, favoritism, and now maybe financial concerns.
Seems to be the picture painted by this account.
And this alleged shift isn't just feelings, is it? The video apparently details specific actions they're taking.
That's right. Very specific, like a complete halt to any positive media coverage about the president that the military might have initiated before.
Okay.
And a directive, reportedly, that generals should stop attending any political party rallies. Any party.
So trying to look nonpartisan,
Yeah.
at least outwardly.
That could be the interpretation, yeah.
Yeah.
A deliberate distancing.
And this one caught my eye. Security details apparently withdrawn for MPs, members of parliament, who are linked to maybe pushing for impeachment against the president.
Yes. That suggests a kind of hands-off approach, doesn't it?
It really does. Like they're saying, we won't interfere if political challenges arise.
Precisely. By allegedly pulling that security, they might be signaling they won't shield people facing political heat. And furthermore, the video claims the ZDF won't participate anymore in programs clearly linked to the ruling party, CNUPF.
Right, the dominant party.
Yeah, reinforcing that idea of trying to step back, establish some neutrality.
And maybe the most significant alleged action. The president supposedly won't get full military briefings anymore.
That's what the account claims. And if true, that's potentially a huge cut in his authority, his involvement in key national security stuff.
Yeah, it paints a picture of the military deliberately limiting communication with the commander-in-chief.
It really does. This alleged reduction in access to info, to strategy talks, it suggests a major shift in the power balance.
Okay, so that brings up the big question. Impeachment. What's the military's alleged stance on that, according to the source?
Neutrality, that's the word used in the account.
Neutrality, meaning?
They reportedly won't actively back any impeachment push. But, crucially, they also won't step in to stop it if it starts moving forward.
That feels significant, given the military's historical influence in Zimbabwe.
Hugely significant. This reported neutrality, if it holds, basically removes a massive potential shield for the president.
Right, opens up space for political opposition.
It could. It does raise that question, though. If this neutrality is real, given Zimbabwe's history, how easy would it actually be for the military to stay neutral in practice?
Good point. But the immediate effect, according to the video, is potentially emboldening people, citizens, MPs.
Yeah, to act without that sort of traditional fear of military crackdown.
Which could ripple out across the whole political landscape.
Absolutely. This alleged shift, it might encourage people, maybe inside the Electoral Commission, ZEC, who have info about the 2023 election. It might make them feel safer to come forward if they perceive the military isn't automatically backing the status quo.
Interesting. And what about the opposition? Nelson Chamisa, for example. He's been quieter lately.
Well, the video suggests this could influence his rumored plans for a new political party.
Like he sees an opening. A less controlled environment, maybe?
That's a plausible reading, definitely. Any perceived weakening at the top, even indirectly, usually makes other political actors reassess their options.
Right.
And the insider account also mentions the business world potentially shifting its allegiances.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Some business figures, previously seen as close to the president, are reportedly now leaning towards the vice president, or something called the M31 movement.
M31 movement. The video doesn't really explain what that is, does it?
No, it doesn't elaborate, which is interesting in itself. Leaves you wondering. But, shifts in where the money goes, that can be a pretty telling sign of which way powerful people think things are heading.
True. And conversely, the account suggests people who strongly backed the president's long-term plans, his 2030 mantra, they're now seen as vulnerable.
Potentially, yes. Their fortunes were tied to his continued power.
The video also talks about what allegedly scares the president the most right now. And it's maybe not what you first think.
Right. It's not necessarily a direct confrontation.
No.
According to the account, his biggest fear is the military going public, making a formal announcement, maybe live on the news, declaring their neutrality.
The symbolism of that.
Exactly. It would be such a visible, definitive signal that their support is gone. It would leave him looking very isolated politically.
And it sounds like some of his allies might be reading the tea leaves.
There's a claim in the video, yes, that people close to him are already moving assets offshore.
Preparing for a rainy day, perhaps?
It suggests a lack of confidence in the current stability, doesn't it? Preemptive moves like that.
Okay, let's talk about the Vice President, Constantino Chiwenga. The video makes a point about his silence and his absence from that alleged key military meeting.
Yeah, he reportedly wasn't there. And he hasn't exactly rushed out to publicly defend the president amidst all these swirling rumors.
That silence feels loud somehow.
The interpretation offered in the video is that it's strategic, calculated.
How so?
By staying publicly neutral, keeping his hands clean, so to speak.
Yeah.
He potentially positions himself
As the alternative.
as a viable successor, yeah. If the president faces impeachment or gets removed, it certainly raises questions about the internal dynamics within Z and UPF.
And the video even mentions his wife being more publicly visible lately, more engagements.
Suggesting perhaps a deliberate effort to boost their public profile. Hints of positioning, maybe.
So, stepping back, looking at the bigger picture, what's the overall potential impact here, assuming this insider account has substance?
Well, it could be huge. Firstly, it might genuinely empower citizens, politicians, to speak out more freely, act more openly, without that constant fear of military backlash.
Which could make things more dynamic, maybe more unpredictable.
Potentially, yes. More volatile, even.
And what about internationally? How might this change how Zimbabwe is viewed?
It's possible the international community might take Zimbabwe more seriously if the military is seen as genuinely committed to neutrality and the Constitution.
Right, even if the reasons are internal military politics.
A perceived commitment to constitutionalism could improve perceptions, yes. The video also suggests we might see more activism from students, the general public.
Because they feel safer to protest or voice concerns.
That seems to be the implication.
It sounds like the military, based on this account, is trying to redefine its role. From protecting politicians to protecting the people and national interests. That feels fundamental.
It is. If it's a genuine shift, it could really alter the civil-military relationship in Zimbabwe long-term.
But there's a contradiction mentioned too, isn't there? Something about a new law?
Yes. The reported push for a new law against whistleblowing.
Right. Which seems odd if the military is supposedly supporting free expression now.
It does seem contradictory, doesn't it? The military allegedly wants openness, but there's this move that could silence people, revealing inconvenient truths.
Yeah, it makes you question how deep or consistent this newfound openness really is.
It definitely highlights the complexities, the potential inconsistencies you get with any major power shift. The video's conclusion, though, is pretty blunt.
What does it say?
That the president is, and I quote, out of time and out of military defense.
Wow, that's definitive. Based on this one alleged account, of course.
Of course.
Okay, so just to quickly recap what this account alleges. A major shift within the Zimbabwean military. Moving away from allegiance to President Mnangagwa towards a stated commitment to the Constitution, the people. Reportedly shown through actions like stopping positive media, pulling security, declaring neutrality on impeachment.
And the potential fallout is massive. Could affect free speech, political moves, international views, the whole future direction.
So this deep dive gives you, the listener, crucial context, potential explanations for what's happening that go beyond just the headlines.
Yeah, it's a framework for trying to understand these complex dynamics.
So considering this alleged withdrawal of military backing, it really makes you think, what happens next in Zimbabwe? What paths could open up?
And what role will ordinary Zimbabweans play in shaping that future?
And maybe the deepest question, what does real neutrality actually look like for an institution like the military that's been so powerful for so long?
Definitely something to keep a very close eye on.